Hi guys, it's Gran and I'm here to read a story again to my grandkids. I always have to futz with my hair, I noticed at the beginning. It's because I actually stopped to take a look at myself and I've already hit the live button. But anyway, I'm here on New Year's Eve. It's the last story for this year. The next time you hear from me, it's going to be 2021. And I'm so glad that you're here this evening. I really hope that you enjoy the stories tonight and that you found a way to sit down and just really take a deep breath and relax, because we seem to have time to do that right now if we really think about it. There isn't a whole lot of things that we need to be running around and trying to get ready, and because it's just us and we're just here together tonight. So the first story for the night is called Best of All, and it's by Max Lucado, and the illustrations are by Sergio Martinez. And all the colors in this story are really soft pastel colors, so I hope they show up okay on the camera for you. And the publisher is Scholastic. So here's the front cover. Can you see that? Look at all the interesting characters and colors on this page. Okay, well, we'll get started. Welcome. Oh, by the way, hi Brandon, hi Taylor, hi Rhea, hi Elijah, hi Jacob, maybe hi Luke and Brandon, and maybe Brooklyn and Lori and Isaac and Aaron and Bennett and Kai, and maybe Neva and Arlo, and my grandchildren and my friends' grandchildren and our friends too, right? So Grandpa's listening as well. So this story is called Best of All. And here's the very, very first picture with a dedication. And it looks like two friends having a chat, doesn't it? So, well, goodness me, look at all the things happening on this page. Have you ever tried to put a big banner up in the air? Can you see this lady? She's giving them instructions. Do you see these people have jointed parts to them? Even the mayor here has jointed parts. Let's see what this story's about. Higher on the right! Higher on the right! Demanded the mayor. There was no patience in his voice. Chip, the Wemmick, lifting the banner, stretched as high as he could and pounded the nail into the pole. Better? He'd barely asked the question when his ladder began to sway, first to one side, then to the next. Crash! Chip grabbed the nail he'd just hammered and held on. Perfect, declared the mayor. Just perfect. As Wemmicks ran to the rescue of the dangling worker, the mayor's wife read aloud the words stretched over the street. Wemmicksville welcomes Miss Bess Stovall. Oh, she clapped her hands as she spoke. What a wonderful day. Whoever would have thought such a famous person would visit our village? You know what they say, don't you? Everyone leaned forward. When it comes to Wemmicks, she's the best of all. Punchinello and Lucia were near enough to overhear her words. Like the rest of the townspeople, they were wooden Wemmicks made by Eli, the Wemmick maker. Unlike the rest of the village, they were puzzled. Tell me again, Punchinello asked the mayor's wife, why is she so famous? Because everyone knows her. But why does everyone know her? Because she's famous, said the mayor's wife. Here's the hullabaloo. All the people getting ready, gathered round, all excited, not staying in their homes because they don't have to in this book. Hi guys, how you doing? It's nice to see you this evening. I hope you're enjoying the story. It's called Best of All. But why is she coming to Wemmicksville? Punch asked. The mayor's wife rolled her eyes in disgust. Haven't you heard? She's here to choose members for the wonderful Wemmicks Club. Punchinello nodded like he understood, but he really didn't. He looked at Lucia and she looked at him, and both shrugged their shoulders. He was just about to ask another question when the watch Wemmick on top of the hill shouted, "She's here! She's here!" Doors flew open, stores emptied, villagers rushed from all directions to the end of Main Street. Fathers lifted children to their shoulders, and short Wemmicks elbowed their way to the front of the crowd. There was much shouting and pointing and tiptoe standing, until a uniformed wooden soldier, looking very official and formal, appeared at the turn in the road. With a scroll in hand and a bugle hanging from his neck, he marched over to the Wemmick River Bridge and stopped in front of the crowd. Staring straight ahead at no one, he stood stiffly until all had hushed. Opening the scroll, he read in a loud voice, "Cut from the grandest forest, carved from the strongest tree, full of sap, only the purest. She's of the highest pedigree. So welcome, ye Wemmicks, to your village so small, the noblest grain from the finest lumber. She is Best of all." Oh my. There she is. Hi guys. Wow. With snappy movements, he tucked the roll under his arm and pulled the bugle to his lips. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-ba. What the Wemmicks saw next caused a village-wide gasp. A squad of soldiers marched around the corner, shouldering a tall box with curtains. From behind him, Punchinello heard the crowd whisper, "It's her." The box sat on two poles, and the poles rested on the shoulders of the 4 soldiers. 2 guards walked in front, 2 walked in back. Boots on the wooden bridge made the only sound. Click, click, click. They kept in perfect step until one of the soldiers stumbled just slightly. The box leaned out over the water. The villagers gasped a second time. Let the box lean much further and the guest of honor would fall into the fast-flowing river. But the soldiers straightened themselves, crossed the bridge, and came to a stop in front of the mayor and his wife. They lowered the box. The trumpet-toting, scroll-reading servant stepped forward and, after a long pause, pulled back the curtain. As Bess stepped out, the villagers stepped back. They'd never seen a wooden person quite like Miss Bess Stovall. Feathers plumed out of her hat. Earrings dangled to her shoulders. Both lips and dress were bright red. Her shoes were tall, her nails were long, and most noticeably, a large golden letter M hung from her neck. Wow. I have to change how I'm sitting. This is too unbelievable. There's her big banner, And there's the big M. This is quite the character. When she snapped her fingers, a sentry handed her a white cloth. With it, she carefully wiped the M and held it up like a mirror before her face. Seeing her reflection, she adjusted her hair and smiled. Bess Stovall was pleased with herself. With eyes peering down her high nose, she held out her hand, allowing it to fall forward at the wrist. Ahem! The mayor's wife understood the gesture. She elbowed her husband. Kiss it! He did. When he did, the visitor spoke. What good fortune is yours that I have come your way, she smirked. Head back, hand still extended. The mayor's wife curtsied and motioned for the other Wemmicks to do the same. They did, even the men. Shall we get on with the greetings? Bess asked. Of course, answered the mayor. Everyone in a line. One by one, the citizens of Wemmicksville passed before their guests. Yes, yes, she would reply, to whatever they said to her. Welcome to our village. Yes, yes. We're glad you're here. Yes, yes. We're honored. Yes, yes. She was less concerned about what they said than what she saw. Occasionally, she would pause and stare deeply at a Wemmick. She examined the nose of the store owner and the ear of his son. She ran a gloved thumb across the hand of the house builder and took a long look at the forehead of the painter. No one knew what she was looking for, and no one asked. Although the wife of the mayor acted as if she knew, nodding when the famous guest nodded and sighing when she sighed. The shortest and longest looks were given to Punchinello and Lucia. Upon seeing Punchinello, Bess suddenly stepped back before he could touch her hand. Lifting her nose and waving, she instructed, Go on, go on. Stunned, Punch didn't move. He just stood there, curious. Move on, her servant repeated with a firm voice. Punchinello did. Lucia started to follow him, not wanting the same treatment. Suddenly, the grand visitor stopped Lucia. My, Bess Stovall admired. What have we here? Her eyes widened, and for the very first time since she began greeting the Wemmicks, a smile softened her narrow face. Such fine grain, and a nice shade. Are you maple? Lucinda didn't understand. Excuse me, are you made of maple? She had to think before answering. Yes. Which forest? Was the question. So here she is. He's supposed to go away, but his friend gets a closer look over. Which forest? Bess asks. Lucia. Well, do you see? Here's Bess looking at Lucia. Lucia paused and thought. It took some time to remember. Majestic, she finally answered. Bess placed her hand over her mouth in surprise. Then you and I are of the same family tree. We are? Bess Stovall laughed. Of course. Then she leaned forward and whispered, How nice to find someone of my roots. Stay around and we will talk. Lucia did. Between greetings, Bess Stovall would make remarks to Lucia beneath her breath, such as, Ugh, what a naughty timber, or such an inferior grove, or definitely from the wrong side of the mountain. Lucia understood none of the comments, but didn't say so. After all the greetings, Bess signaled for Lucia to step near. Tomorrow we must chat. I have something for you, she said, fingering her M necklace. With that, she turned and left, escorted by soldiers, and she was followed by the mayor and his wife. Punchinello approached Lucia. Did I do something wrong? I don't know. Did you do something right? I don't know. Why is she kind to some Wemmicks and rude to others? I think it has something to do with your ancestry. My what? What forest do you come from? Why does that matter? I don't know. So here's the two friends trying to figure out what on earth is going on with this strange lady. They turned and left the village. Neither one spoke. They hadn't known they were different, and now that they did, they didn't know how to feel. I'll see you tomorrow, Punch finally said. Yeah, sure, replied Lucia. Neither felt too happy. As the days passed, they saw each other less and less. It took Bess Soval only a short time to select her favorite Wemmicks for the wonderful Wemmicks Club. Lucia was among them. So were the store owner and Mr. and Mrs. Mayor. Bess gave each an M to wear around their neck. The M is for maple. You are maples, she explained, as she showed them how to polish the medallion. Not all Wemmicks are equal. Some are common, made of pine or elm. A few are quality, cut from maple like you, and fewer still of us are from a fine family tree. She glanced at Lucia, and Lucia blushed. The other Wemmicks politely applauded. And then Bess Stovall curled her lips as if she'd just tasted something sour. Some Wemmicks are willows. Willows, they asked. Willow is a weak wood, the maple Wemmick explained. It bends, it bruises, shallow roots. No one wants to be a willow. Do you actually know any? The mayor's wife asked. Actually, there's one in your village. They all leaned forward, curious. Bess looked again at Lucia. Your friend. Punchinello? Lucia asked. Everyone gasped. I always knew he was weaker, someone said. Been suspecting a bad family for years, another nodded. Such a sapling, added a third. The rest nodded. Lucia nodded with them. From that day forward, Wemmicksville began to change. Townspeople took notice of each other's tree type. The walnuts looked down on the pines. The pines looked down on the elms. The maples looked down on everyone. And everyone looked down on Punchinello. The walnuts formed a club and opened several branches. Elms cut a path and named it Elm Street. Maples built a tree house and hosted polishing parties. Everyone had a group. Everyone, that is, except Punchinello. Even Lucia ignored him. Hi, Lucia, he would say to her. Yes, yes, she would reply, not stopping. She was, after all, cut from the finest tree, and Punchinello was just a willow Wemmick, soft and easily bent. One day, Punchinello felt especially alone. He went to the pine picnic, but no one sat by him. The walnuts were playing games, but no one threw him the ball. He even tried to go to the maple party, but the sign on the door said, Royal Tree Only. Punchinello was very sad. he went for a walk and sat down by the river where the willow trees grew. "Why did I have to be a willow?" he said aloud to no one. "What would you rather have been?" The sound of the voice startled Punchinello. He turned and saw Eli, his maker. "Maple?" Eli continued. "Would you rather be made of maple?" Punchinello didn't answer. Both sad and embarrassed, he lowered his head. Eli walked over and lifted Punch's chin with a finger. "Other Wemmicks are better," Punchinello told him. "Who says?" "Everyone." Eli sighed and shook his head. "Come here." The two walked over to the willow tree and stopped. "Punchinello, who do you think knows more, the Wemmicks or the Wemmick maker?" Punchinello smiled softly. "The maker." "Of course I do. Do you think I knew what I was doing when I made you?" The look in Eli's eye convinced Punchinello that he was about to hear something important. "You are special, my child. You are the way you are because I made you that way." "You chose my forest?" "Yes." "You chose my wood?" "Yes." "Willow is just as special as maple?" "Yes." Just as special. Then why do others treat me like I am not? Here's someone you can ask. "Hi, Punch." This time the voice was Lucia's. Punch turned. "I'm sorry," she said. "I've been listening too much to them and not enough to Eli." Punchinello shrugged. He noticed she wasn't wearing her M necklace anymore. "That's okay." Both smiled. "Want to go back to the village?" she asked. "Today is the big send-off for Bess Stovall." "Yeah, I'd like that." The two said goodbye to Eli and walked towards Wemmicksville. Many Wemmicks turned when they entered the village. More than one pointed as the Maple Wemmick and the Willow Wemmick walked side by side. But Punchinello and Lucinda didn't care. They were glad to be friends again. All of Wemmicksville turned out to say goodbye to Miss Bess Stovall. She stepped into her box and signaled that she was ready to go. Her soldier escorts marched proudly before her. Her bugles sounded the farewell. Wemmicks lined up on either side of the river to watch. The new members of the wonderful Wemmicks Club wore their club T-shirts with pride. Crossing the bridge, the honor guard waved her golden medallion the honored guest waved her golden medallion at the crown. "Farewell, lowly Wemmicks. Perhaps someday I'll honor you again with my presence," she shouted. Bess Stovall leaned out of the window of her special box so that everyone could see her, and as she did, She leaned a bit too far and began falling, falling. Her tumble stopped when her medallion chain caught on the bridge rail. When it snapped in half, she grabbed one end and held on. The river roaring beneath her, Wemmicks cried in alarm. "Help her!" the mayor's wife shouted. "Save her!" someone yelled. "But no one can reach her," said an onlooker. "I can't hold on much longer," Bess shrieked. Soldiers tried. Wemmicks tried. No success. They were too stiff to bend underneath the bridge. "Let me try," shouted Punchinello. "I'm made of limber lumber." Not waiting for an answer, he ran to the edge of the bridge and sat with his back to the river. "Grab my legs." When the soldiers did, he leaned back, bent over double, twisted around until he was hanging upside down. Instantly, he could see the wide-eyed Wemmick. She was clinging to the chain, her feet pulled by the river. "I'm coming," he shouted. Then, to the amazement of everyone, he bent back, 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 until he was under the bridge, reaching for the desperate Bess. "Take my hand," he offered. See him and see all the other Wemmicks up there, but they're all made of hardwoods. They don't bend. But Punchinello can do it. Remember, she wouldn't touch him before? This time, she didn't care what kind of wood she touched. She grabbed his hand and held on tight. "You must let go of the chain," Punchinello instructed. Bess Stovall obeyed the little Wemmick, letting go of her precious medallion and watching it fall into the river below. Punchinello swung forward, pulling Bess high enough to be grabbed by the soldiers. Within moments, Punchinello and Bess were safe on the bridge and surrounded by Wemmicks. "How did you do that?" everyone asked. "It's easy when you're made of the right wood," he smiled. For several moments, no one spoke. Then, from the back, one of the maple Wemmicks walked up to Punch. He removed his M from his chain and turned it upside down, making a W. "Enough of all this talk about maples. Let's just be Wemmicks." Hanging the W around Punchinello's neck, he added, "Punchinello, you're the Wemmick of the day." One by one, the maple Wemmicks removed their M's, placing them on the ground near Punchinello. Soon there was a small pile of medallions. Even the mayor and his wife removed theirs, though she took one last look at herself in the M before she set it down. Now the M is a W, and Punchinello is up on a stump, so all can see him. The Wemmicks started back towards town. The last thing anyone could remember about Bess Stovall was seeing the majestic maple down by the river, searching all alone for her precious medallion. As for the villagers, they quit talking about ancestries and decided to just be Wemmicks again. And Punchinello? He had a new job in town. "Say, Punch," a new Wemmick friend asked him on his way back to the village, "there's a ball stuck in my chimney. Any chance you could reach it?" And when Punch did, he looked up the hill. Eli was watching from the porch of his house. Punch waved, and his maker smiled. And there's Punch with Eli, the puppet maker. Best of all. So everybody's got good things that they're good at, and wood carves in different ways, right, Aaron? So it depends on what you're making and what the use of something is, and every person is different, special, unique, and is useful in different ways and has different strengths. You know, like some people are good at running, and other people are good at tying shoes, and other ones are good at dancing, and some are good at telling jokes, and some are good at helping, and some are good in the kitchen. There's so many things that people can do, and we can all learn from each other. And it doesn't matter that we're different in different ways. Some are tall, some are short. The next story is from a book called A Prairie Boy's Winter. And the paintings and stories are by William Krylik. And we saw him in Prairie Boy's Christmas. And I just love all of his paintings. There's just so much life in every single one. So we're just going to read one story out of this one really quickly tonight, and probably other nights when we have different stories of different lengths. So this is the first story and the painting that goes with it. Can you see all the lovely detail in that? See all the people, the birds in the air. I hope you can see that. Okay. Crows leaving before winter. It was chilly. The skies hung heavy and gray as William, his brother John, and his sister Winnie joined the other children on the highway, schoolbound. The crows had been loitering around in great flocks, quarreling, cawing, and raiding farmers' cornfields. Now they were finally leaving. They flew south every fall about this time to escape the harsh prairie winter. In the cow pasture, the leaves had fallen from the white poplars and the oaks, leaving the crows' nests bare in the high branches. It would be 5 months before one of those noisy black birds came flapping back over the pasture bush to announce the end of winter. So I don't know, did you notice that in the picture? In the trees, there's not leaves, but there's spots in the distance where you can see black splotches that were the crow's nests. You'll have to look for them this winter when you're out for a walk. 5 months till the crows come back in the prairies. And that's the short story that we're going to read from this book tonight. Everybody take a deep breath. It's the end of 2020. And we made it. And we have another year ahead of us. But the last thing you want to do is wish away your days. Because all we have is right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Until we don't. So, always try to find the good things in the days and the minutes and the hours and the moments. And when things are really hard, remember, it'll be over in a moment. A moment. A moment. And keep looking for the good moments. And remember, breathe in. Hold it for a while. and let it out really slow. I've had to do that a lot this year, but it really helps, because there are times when you might say something or do something that you would regret later, and it's much, much, much better to remember that it's only this moment, so we can breathe in and hold it and let it out slowly. And then whatever it was that was so horrible, awful in that moment has now gone by, and we can go on to something else. It's not easy, but I hope you'll give it a try so that you have a spectacular, joyful, wonderful 2021. So Happy New Year! And later on, sweet dreams. God bless. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.